Hi, I'm LeFantomeRomance,
And I'm RoseOfPhantom.
and welcome to our new segment, Reflections from the Fifth Cellar.
This is where we will be giving video podcasts about Phantom and having our discussions. And it's unscripted. We're just doing this right off the cuff. So
Yeah, and we're just going to be discussing topics of the day, which we're going to be having one. It should be in the title on the video. Um, and we'd also like to hear your feedback too, so we'll give you more information about that in the comments. I mean, not in the comments, at the end of the video. You know what I mean. Anyway, today we will be discussing the topic of why there has never been a faithful adaptation of a Phantom film. And if you want to start off, Rosie.
okay, she's Leffy and I'm Rosie. Just it's shortened from me.
Yeah.
Um, thing what most people don't seem to realize, people who call themselves fans, and I think some people are aware of it, they just don't go out and look for it, but there are some who just don't know. They're, the Angela Webb production of Phantom is not the first there is. In fact, there it goes way back, like almost 100 years ago. Gaston Leroux published a book, Phantom of the Opera.
Actually, it's almost 100 years ago.
Well,
Because
it's more than that because 1909 it was
well, yeah, but
serialized.
it was published in the U.S. almost exactly 100 years ago.
Yeah,
in
that's
in
what I meant.
1911. So, and it was
But it
published in
did
book
come out.
format in France in 1910.
Mhm.
So, hmm
That's
so
what I said about 100 years ago, and
yeah,
that's
around
when it
that.
first appeared.
And
Then
then actually, and people who like know the story and stuff, they know that the Lon Chaney version exists, but what they don't know is that there was actually like around 1916 a version of the movie that's been lost, and it stars Count Olaf something. Um, and he played the Phantom, and some girl played Christina. I don't know. I could look it up. I'll look it up real quick. Um, and it was the first version of the story that was actually called. It was German. It was Das Phantom der Oper. You can pronounce that since she
Das
knows German.
Phantom der Oper. Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Ich spreche Deutsch.
yeah.
But it's obviously the 1916 film is lost, and we haven't really seen it.
No.
But the 1925 version, though, there is, it's in the public domain, you can watch it, but there are various versions of it. There's a really crappy music version, which I unfortunately own. There's like Switchblade Symphony. There's it was redubbed in 1929, but there was I shouldn't say redubbed, it was dubbed because it wasn't a speaky. But in there was the very first time they showed it on screen,
And
they had scenes in there that were actually removed or changed for the one that's now on DVD, and it's different.
yeah,
I have seen. I think we both have seen it, right?
the
The real
1925
thing.
one.
Yeah,
You mean?
yeah, the real thing.
Yeah.
The
Well,
real.
it's not really the real thing. It's actually I actually listened to part of the commentary for the Ultimate Edition of the Lon Chaney film, and Steve McQueen, who was Stephen McQueen, not Steve McQueen the actor, Steve McQueen the historian. Um, he was um, he was talking about how there were 5 different versions of the actual movie. And the first one is the one that was shown to preview audiences in Los Angeles and San Francisco. And it included both the graveyard scene at Paros, where the Phantom, Ralph sees the Phantom, and the heartbreak ending, which should be in the movie, but it's not. I can let the graveyard scene fly, but that scene should be in the movie. Um, But preview audiences didn't like it. I think they just took out the graveyard scene because... Oh, I remember why they took out the graveyard scene. It was because they didn't want people to see the Phantom's face until the unmasking scene. And that scene was before the unmasking scene. So they could have just put it like after the unmasking scene or something and moved the dialogue around, but I don't know.
But has anyone found that version, though?
No, it's lost, remember?
Yeah.
It's like one of the Holy Grail lost films.
Yeah. I think that's like our quest now is to find.
Yes, exactly.
The last one. But the one that you can watch it on the internet. It's in the archive, whatever the archive site is.
The Internet Movie Archives. Here, I'll look for it. I have it saved. No, PR uploaded it. Phantom Reviewer, if you've ever heard of him, he uploaded it.
That's how we met. We actually met through the Phantom Reviewer. We're friends with a few people who are like purist Leroux book fans like us.
And we all love the movies too. We love the movies too, so.
Yeah, and we're actually talking through Skype. We're recording it. I live in Minnesota. Lefty lives in Georgia.
Yeah, so far apart.
But
here, I've got it. It's at the archives. We'll link to it in the comments. And probably like a little link in the video if we can do that. I don't really know how YouTube works nowadays. So.
But
anyway.
That version was like.
It was a lot more accurate.
It was a lot more, but it seems like. Ever since that version, there's been some that haven't even come as the anime version got pretty close, but I would say it was.
It's not anime. It's the animated version. The anime.
Yeah, I said anime. I said animated.
I thought you said anime. I guess I didn't hear you.
No.
But there is an anime version, but it's nowhere near accurate.
It's just not. No.
Loosely based off of it. It's not. It's a detective mystery. It's like a modern day murder mystery, and there's hardly any phantom in it. So it's actually pretty good. So, and there was a lot of phantom stuff in it. I saw that.
Our question is, why haven't they? The 1925 is close. It's very close. The one in the archive is very close. But why we have much more technology now? We could easily do something like that. We could easily make someone look as ugly as Cheney did.
Oh my God! I have a realization. I know why it's not like that. Because Hollywood is geared towards a younger audience now. Do you remember back then when films were mostly for adults? Like they were all PG-13 rated R movies, basically. There were very few kids movies. And now that's all it is kids movies and family-friendly movies. That's all it is. Or teenage block.
I would argue that there seems to be a lot of horror movies and sex movies.
Well, see, those are geared towards teenagers now. They're geared to the sexier audience. They're not geared towards the people who just like movies, that are classic movie lovers, like us. They're geared towards the people who just want to walk out of the theater feeling entertained. They don't want to think anymore. Audiences don't want to think, i.e. Twilight.
I also argue that, well, yeah, I mean, Twilight, yeah, it's like, but Inception, I mean, that leaves you going, whoa.
Oh,
and that's a pretty hefty thing, and that's why I kind of disagree with that, because Inception was pretty...
I have to agree with you. I think we're starting to get more towards adult films now. We've kind of passed the phase of kiddie films and teenage blockbusters. We've kind of passed that phase. We're still there, but we're getting out of that, which I like. Hopefully we'll see a Phantom version soon, because it's about time we had a new one. So, but I think in recent years, that's why it hasn't been available. Like, people don't want it. People don't want to see it. That's why Gerard Butler was cast in the 2004 film. Because people want to see a young, sexy actor, because that's what they're comfortable with. It's like, this entire generation has reverted back to how the people were back in Eric's day. How they weren't accepting of people with deformities. Like, all these movies, like the Bela Lugosi, all the horror monsters, all back then, they were all ugly, grotesque. Everyone loved them. And now all we see is sexiness. That's all it is now. That's all people care about.
Well, it's because sex sells. But I wonder if, like, is there gonna be a time where we're just tired of it and we go back to it, or
I don't know. I think with all the technology nowadays, kids are so, like, they already know all this stuff already. They already know how, like, they have access to so many things just through the internet, so they'll never be phased again. So, I don't know, honestly.
Well, another thing that I thought about is the ending. Even with the 1925, why did they change the ending? I'm thinking that maybe they're like dying of a broken heart. I mean, that seems so. I personally don't think it's weak, but to the general audience, it seems like it'd be very weak, and it's like, I guess, more of a romantic ideal than.
Yeah. Oh, I
and
you're
people
saying.
want action. And
No, it's not just that. Phantom was the first real horror film that American audiences saw. It, like, really was. American audiences were only used to westerns, action films, and romance back then, because that's all they had. They didn't know any other genre. And this was the very first horror film to be shown in America. That wasn't, like, it was the first American-made horror film. Like, they had been shown, like, Nosferatu and The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, which was actually a really good film, starring Conrad Veidt. You should check it out. It's really good. But American audiences just weren't used to it, so they wanted to see more of it because they were so fascinated by it. So when they saw the heartbreak ending, they're like, "What? This is just like the crap we're used to." So they wanted to see something new and fresh, and they wanted the villain. That's why the preview audiences didn't like it, was because they wanted the villain to get his comeuppance, basically. Excuse my southern accent and my dialect. But yeah, they just wanted him to, like, they wanted justice done, basically, was what it was. They saw the villain as the villain. He had no redeeming qualities, so they wanted him to die a brutal death instead of a heartbreaking one.
So, in a time that addresses the question as to why they did it then, but I guess we're so used to, like, different genres, and we mix genres all the time. It would be no problem to do it. But
Yeah, that's true. Well, I guess that's it for us. What do you think, guys? Just post a comment, or you can make a video response, I guess, if you want. Just comment and pretty much give us your thoughts on it, and maybe we'll reply back to you, and we'll have a healthy debate. And then tune in next time for our next question, which we have yet to decide. But
well, you can post questions of stuff that you want us to address.
Yeah, that's
you can give us further insights. You can post really anything you would like us to talk about. We'll answer questions, whatever. Just put them in the comments. We'll address them next.
Comment away. Comment away. Alright, this is LeFantomeRomance signing out.
And this is RoseOfPhantom signing off.